We're gonna be going deep into everything that is about the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. Pixel 8 Pro on the left, Pixel 8 on the right. This is the 2023 and beyond Pixel line of flagship devices from Google that we've got going on here, right? And the design philosophy pretty much feels the same on both and carries on from what we know to be the Pixel identity, right? And we're gonna actually pretty much look at what we've got here. So we've got the Pixel 8 Pro in the bay color. This is obviously Google's fancy name for calling it blue, but this is known as bay. And then we've got the hazel color, which is kind of like an off gray mixed with green. Some people call it the stuff that comes out of babies, but on the other side, but hey, who knows? But these are the two colors that we've got right now. What's the design principle that they've done to actually change it to differentiate from what we had from the previous Pixel 7 series? Mainly from the Pixel 8 Pro. They've married what they started with the Pixel 6 Pro and put it together from what they had with the Pixel 7 Pro. What does that basically mean? I've got a Pixel 7 Pro here that gives a general idea. So if you see what they did with the Pixel 7 Pro, right? What they had here was a pill shape for the cameras, right? Which was the main and ultra wide. And then they put a separate circle for the 5x optical telephoto zoom. I didn't like that too much, right? I actually prefer the Pixel 6's, Pixel 6 Pro's design layout for the cameras at the back. But this time around, I think they've married the best of both worlds. And I really, really like this. This looks great. It has a nice identity to it that is unapologetically Pixel, especially from what they started with the Pixel 6 series. And this is the best marriage of both. And I really, really like this, which is a good look. So well done on Google on that. In respect to, well done on Google with that one, right? A matte finish at the back. Thank you. You did it with the Pixel Fold, so I'm so glad you listened to us and decided to do it with the Pixel 8 Pro. And for some of you that actually have said that this is the first time they've put a matte finish on a Pixel device, hey, maybe you haven't heard of the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL, yeah? This isn't the first time Google have put a matte design, but it's good for them to go back to their roots because they were way ahead of people when it came to the matte finish. They went away from it, they've come back to it, and it's so good that they've done. I'm really, really glad they've listened and they've gone for a matte finish. Overall, it's more of a pebble rounded design as well, which I love to see. Very, very comfortable devices to hold. In terms of comfort, these are A1 without cases. These are well balanced, slightly top heavy when it comes to the 8 Pro, but overall, very well balanced. Love to see it, very comfortable in the hands. And again, with this being a matte finish, right? When you're holding it, no fingerprints, and it feels really comfortable and very, very manageable. Google have done a great job when it comes to the ergonomics and the feel in the hand and the curvature. And of course, what have they done? They've gone with a flat display. So several things really bring advantage to that. So we're gonna look at the Pixel 7 Pro. And you can see the curved display nature of the Pixel 7 Pro, which wasn't anywhere near as curved as a Pixel 6 Pro, but curved nonetheless. And curved displays are a nightmare to deal with when it comes to potential accidental touches, edge glare with lighting, so when you're watching something, the light kind of bends and refracts it, and also just a difficulty to find a screen protector that fits it properly, that won't give you issues. We have a flat display. Well done, Google. Thank you for doing a flat display, and it's just much better. This is a good showing when it comes to design changes that add up from a flat display, a much more curved design, making it more comfortable, putting in a matte finish at the back, changing the visibility of the pill shape, marrying it with what they had with the Pixel 6 Pro, with what they had with the Pixel 7 Pro, the best of both worlds. This is really good. The visor bar design, which is unapologetically Pixel, which is great to see here, really well evolved. Overall, this is a good showing. Apart from one thing, the polished metal frame. Here lies the annoying thing that we have with the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro, right? These are using Victor's glasses. I want this matte finish of the metal frame of the Pixel 8 on the Pixel 8 Pro. In fact, why not put the matte finish away from the glossy? Case in point, here we have the iPhone 15 in this super blue shade of white. And Apple did an all aluminum finish, right? With glass back, infused, and it's a matte finish. And the frame is a matte finish as well. They did away with doing a glossy back with a matte frame. They've just gone matte on matte. And this is the nicest feeling phone I've still used just because of how this finish is. Google, time to get rid of everything polished. Time to get rid of everything that is glossy. It is okay, right? You're almost there. The Pixel 9 series, we do not want to see this polished stuff. Let me give you another example why this polished stuff is a nightmare. Here lies my Pixel 7 Pro. And oh, look here. Oh, look at all those scuffs. This is why this polished metal finish is just not a good look. It's brutal. Even in a case, it catches it. So those are my two main gripes with the design of the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. This needs to be a matte finish. This polished stainless steel, oh, it looks nice. It almost feels like a piece of jewelry and it adds like a nice little contrast to it. It is not going to hold up well at all. It's gonna scratch like a mug. It's just not good. It's not good. But the matte finish is great. The rounded feeling is amazing. The flat display is happily welcome. Same principle following of the smaller non-Pro version actually, which has always had a flat display, right? So it's good that the Pro learns from the little brother or little sister in this particular situation. And here we have it, right? A well-rounded, best-in-class design from Google for their Pixel lineup for 2023 and beyond. This is a good look amongst other things. So pretty much shared my initial concerns, but mostly praises for the design and the build quality when it comes to the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro. I think Google, honestly, minus what I've said about the fact that they need to just make everything matte, no more glossy, no more polished metal frame, no more glossy back for the back glass, right? This is a phenomenal outing and improvement, and it really shows a duty of care to just listening to your audience, not wanting things that you think are good, i.e. a curved display. Be done with it. We want a flat display. It's just better and it's much more functional and it's less of a pain to deal with. One, right? A phone that's more comfortable to use even before we start considering putting cases on there, just because of the natural ergonomic shape being more akin to the human hand, which is friendly, right? The pixel identity of the back, because most people that are holding their phones, other people recognize your phone from the back, not necessarily from the front, because most phones nowadays, unless you're talking about the dynamic pill, do look the same from the front with the small single hole punch at the top, right? So having an identity at the back that really calls out to what that phone is really makes sense, and Pixels have that. So to really round it off and improve from what was started from the Pixel 7 Pro, right? With the separation of the telephoto and the main wide and ultra wide, really a good look. So my gripes aside, I honestly think when it comes to the design and the build quality, Google have done an excellent job, great upgrades, great refinements, really love it. And I think, you know what, they deserve like a good, strong 8 out of 10 for it. Ducked points just based on the fact that it isn't matte everything. But apart from that, man, I think it's a good 8, maybe a solid 8.5. Let's now talk about the display experience. The display experience is a very interesting one from Google because they've now jumped into the marketing naming of their display tech because they felt it was about damn time to let y'all know that we have displays that you should be putting some respect on. And it's called the Actual Display. Add a super in front of it. Super Actual Display. These are the two things that we got going here when it comes to the Pixel. And of course, this is a very interesting statistic in what Google have got going on here. Why? So of course, we're rocking with a 6.2 inch display, which is smaller than the 6.3 inch. That was on the Pixel 7, and I believe the Pixel 6 was the 6.4 inch display. So the Pixel non-Pro devices have been getting smaller in physical size to make them more compact. Then we got the Pixel 8 Pro, which is a 6.7 inch flat panel, super actual display. And that's what we've got going when it comes to these two. But the call to fame of why they've called these the actual displays are two things in fold. So, of course, This is the second generation LTPO super adaptive panel, which is where it refreshes from 120 Hertz all the way down to 1 Hertz. Previous LTPO panels that they were using that were super adaptive were going from 120 Hertz down to 10 Hertz. So this does go down to 1 Hertz. And I believe this pretty much only does this in very, very still situations when the screen is on, or again, when the always on display is active. And then finally, we see an upgrade to a 120 Hertz display that is on the Pixel 8, up from the 90 Hertz that we've been getting used to from the Pixel 6 and Pixel 7. We do have a 120 Hertz display now on the Pixel 8, which is adaptive between 120 Hertz down to 60. So these are the two differences that we've got. What other differences have we got that makes this a super actual display versus an actual display? What we've got here is a display that is 1080p, full high definition plus based on aspect ratio. But the resolution technically on the Pixel 8 Pro is actually slightly lower than 1440p, not by much. Let's do a bit of quick maths. And let's just pull out the Pixel 7 Pro. And let's look at the display resolution of the Pixel 7 Pro. So display, you can obviously change the resolution now. You can see that the Pixel 7 Pro's resolution, right, is 3120 by 1440. So if we do a pixel count, 3120 by 1440, right? What that gives you is a pixel count of 4.4 megapixels, or basically close to a 4.5 megapixel display, right? If we then do the same pixel count calculation, so we've now got a 4.0, a 4 megapixel resolution display to a 4.5 megapixel resolution display. So the resolution has dropped. You've lost some pixels. So it's not as pixel dense on the same 6.7-inch display size that we had before. Doesn't make a difference, really. It's still over 4 megapixels in terms of screen resolution, but it is still a super actual display using OLED tech. Slightly lower resolution on a technical level with a count on pixels. But what makes this an actual display is peak brightness. And we're gonna measure that for you live. Peak brightness is rated to be 2000 nits when outdoors. Peak brightness. I think in a small window, but that is crazy. Such a big improvement here. And then here it's meant to be 2400 nits. One of the brightest displays that you can get on a smartphone right now. I think it's only been beaten recently by the Xiaomi 13T or 13T Pro, which does 2600 nits from what I heard. But regardless, I mean, this, for the price that this is coming in at £699 now, my goodness, £699, $699 for a 2000 nits bright display. Oh, wow. And then this, with a price increase of £999, which is £150 increase from the £849 that the Pixel 7 Pro was, $999 in the US. You are getting a near enough close to 1440p resolution display, 20 by 9 aspect ratio effectively, second generation LTPO 2 display that goes down to 1 Hz up to 120 Hz, and of course a super bright 2400 nits peak brightness display. Now, this is what we've got here when it comes to being a super actual display to an actual display. And what we're gonna do is give you the display measurement experience where we're gonna talk and showcase how bright these get. So how we do this, we do it in two ways. Make sure adaptive brightness is off. Once adaptive brightness is up, we're gonna crank the brightness all the way to 100%. And we've got a plain white background. This should simulate SDR, standard dynamic range. I'm gonna click hold. And in SDR, what we're getting is 1308 nits of peak brightness in manual brightness mode with an all-right screen when we're looking at the Pixel 8 Pro. Sustained peak brightness on an all-white screen, that's crazy. That's crazy good. And let's do the same for the Pixel 8. We're gonna go to display. Adaptive brightness is off, as you can see. Bump up the brightness. Go here. Here we have it, 1310 nits of peak brightness measured with an all-white background manual brightness mode on the Pixel 8 these are fantastically bright displays. And let's find a HDR video. So we're gonna go in here and we type in 4K brightness test. Usually it's this video that I find here. Make sure that we are streaming that in 4K HDR. So what we're gonna do, measure it here. 1,915 nits on the Pixel 8 when we are looking at HDR content. That's crazy, right? That's insane. In a small window, in the middle, that's insane. 4K brightness test. Do the same here. Take off the hold. And what do we have here for the Pixel 8 Pro? 2,107 nits of peak brightness in a small window when viewing HDR content with a pure white background. These displays are ridiculously bright. Google have pulled the stops on this one. And yes, technically, as I stated, as I like to state, factual, objective stuff as well. Yes, they have dropped the resolution on this. They have dropped the resolution ever so slightly on the Pixel 8 Pro. Resolution is still the same on the Pixel 8. In fact, because it's a smaller display, it is more pixel dense. Yes, they have technically dropped the resolution ever so slightly below a 1440p resolution. So it's a 4 million pixel resolution here compared to a 4.5 or basically a 4.5 million pixel resolution. So you're losing out on 500,000 pixels on a technical level when it comes to resolution on this. But the gain and the benefit of a super over 2,000 plus nits display, yeah, give me that. Such a great balance, especially when it's a flat display. Second generation LTPO refresh rate adaptive from 120 Hz down to 1 Hz instead of 10 Hz, like we had before. A flat display, a super bright panel, OLED, just slightly below 1440p is a sacrifice I'll take. And then obviously the Pixel 8, which is a 2000, this is just brilliant work, Google. The display experience here has been fantastic. I haven't set up the fingerprint sensor on the Pixel 8, but I have on the Pixel 8 Pro, right? So let's show the setup process with the Pixel 8. So I've done it for the Pixel 8 Pro, but I haven't done it for the 8. And you see the process pretty much reminds me of exactly how the Pixel 8 Pro was. Other devices that use the ultrasonic, aka mostly the Samsung devices, honestly, the setup would have been done by now. So as smooth as it's going, shout out to Trent. It works reasonably okay, but you have to be very precise with it. And it just doesn't have that blistering fast speed that you would get, see? At this point, I do agree that this optical scanner needs to go. I don't know if there's some relationship with Qualcomm's ultrasonic fingerprint sensor that only allows Samsung to use it, but I do agree. Honestly, at this point, the ultrasonic needs to come in. This optical reader needs to go. It's the best experience of a fingerprint sensor that I've experienced with Google is actually, funny enough, on the Pixel 7a, which is so weird for me to even say that. But yeah, as you can see, it just doesn't have the immediacy. It just doesn't have the immediacy. With Samsung, it's just bang, you know? You've got the S23 Ultra here, just bang. That's another thing where if it just feels like Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6 all over again. I feel like they tweaked it a little better with the Pixel 7 series, with the Pixel 7, the Pixel 7 Pro, and especially the Pixel 7a. But with the 8 and 8 Pro, I don't know whether it's the whole super actual thing that's happening with here, that it's just kind of drawn back, but they need to find a way to get ultrasonic back in here with the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro. The face unlock is something that I have sorted, but it's not anything like Apple's Face ID, even though Google have done a lot of you know, processing and Titan with their Titan chip in there to make it more secure, so you can use it for like face unlock for your banking applications and contactless payments and stuff, which is great. But yeah, the fingerprint is still going to be the most secure, but it's also low-key still kind of like the most pain in the ass one to deal with, mind my French. But apart from that, man, I've got to give them the display does live up to the hype and expectations of it. Some people were talking about slight color shifting off axis, and I haven't personally noticed it, in my opinion. But again, you want to put a screen protector on it, it's going to be less of a pain on your Pro device because it's a flat display now. The displays are literally on the money when it comes to the claims of how bright it is. Thin and symmetrical bezels all around. Still high resolution displays, even though it's slightly lower on the Pixel 8 Pro compared to the 7 Pro, it's still around a 4 million pixel resolution compared to a 4.5 million pixel resolution, slightly lower than 4040p, but it is a better LTPO panel, which is more efficient, much brighter, flatter, 6.7 inches, all around. When it comes to the display experiences, man, this is the way. And you cannot go wrong with what's been put here with the Pixel 8 Pro and Pixel 8. Only thing is, Google, it's time to get rid of this optical fingerprint sensor. It ain't it. It at this point, it just never will be it. And just find a way to get an ultrasonic. And if you do, we'll stop complaining about the Pixel fingerprint sensors and enjoy the whole display experience for what it is. So that is my verdict and experience when it comes to the display experience on both the Pixel 8 Pro and Pixel 8. Now, let's get into it. We are going to be talking about tensor performance, aka what we got here when it comes to the Tensor G3 center powered here in what we have with the Pixel 8 series, right? I'm gonna lock this in a bit closer so you can have a much more personal look. And funny enough, with Geekbench, you have to download it manually because you can't get it from the Play Store. Google does not want you to actually do anything with Geekbench here, but you have to download it, install it manually. And you can see the specs breakdown. This, I believe, is based on the 4nm process from Samsung that was used with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Not the 8 Plus Gen 1. Remember, the 8 Plus Gen 1, that was used in the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and that was the mid-cycle refresh, and that is using TSMC's 4nm process, whereas the 8 Gen 1, this is what was found in the Galaxy S22 series in the North American region, just like what you have with the Galaxy S23 FE right now, which is the 8 Gen 1, which is in the North American region where everyone else got Exynos. But again, that 4nm Samsung process, this is what we have right now. At least it's a die shrink from the 5nm process that we got twice over from the Tensor G1 and the Tensor G2. It is Tensor G3, and this is pretty much the breakup that we have, which is pretty much a 9-core base design, right? Which is obviously 4 clusters of the super efficient cores, and then 4 clusters of the performance cores, and a higher cluster, which is the extreme core, as they call it. And obviously the GPU is what we have right here. It's Mali based, and it's the G715. So let's look at the history of what we've got. So we don't have to run through another crazy benchmark. This is what we got in terms of the benchmark. I'm gonna bring perspective in when it comes to what you're looking at when it comes to something like the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Let's see if I've got history. So again, let's run a benchmark on the Pixel 7 Pro just to give perspective. And here we have it. Again, it's where have we progressed in terms of raw performance? Basically, it's the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. That's the best way I can put it. Here's where you're seeing juggernaut performance right here. Apple, from when I did it, I think were within the 25,000, like Apple really up there. I think Apple were within the 7,000s, 2,500s. They were really up there. And again, with the 8 Gen 3 coming out, which is going to be announced anytime soon when it comes to their Snapdragon Summit, into their new Galaxy S24 series and whatnot, this is what we have. You don't get a Pixel device for raw performance. Let me just reiterate that. You don't get a Pixel device for the raw performance at the current stage and where we at with Pixel devices. You just don't. What you have to understand is you get it for the tailor-made performance. With the Pixel Experience software, with Google's intended look and vision of what Android should be. It is not stock Android. Stock Android is AOSP, right? AOSP is stock Android. Google isn't using stock Android. This is the Pixel Experience. This is Google's intended look and feel and how Android should be in their eyes. Stock Android is AOSP. It's not stock Android. It may be a clean looking version of Android in terms of aesthetics, but it's Google's intended look and how Android should be. This is what the Tensor experience is based around. That tailor-made experience with the Tensor processing units, doubling performance from what we saw with the Tensor G1 and the Tensor G2 from before. This is what enables the things that we can do on board when it comes to Magic Editor and the performance altogether. But again, if we're looking at raw numbers, being honest, it's the Spider-Man point in me. What do we have when it comes to gaming? Again, I'm not much of a mobile gamer, but I am happy to do a slight game through walkthrough. So let's do a temperature reading, 30.7 degrees. And we're gonna open Asphalt. Frame rate doesn't look as smooth as I would like, in my opinion. I don't know whether it's turned off the graphical settings or hasn't been optimized for the Tensor G3, apologies, but jump the ramp, bang. Finished. Okay, so that's the first round. I'm gonna check the graphic settings because to my eyes, for how often I've played Asphalt, yeah, the frame rate was looking a bit suspect still, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Nah, I'm not seeing anything that allows me to change the graphic settings. Okay, we're running it again. 2, 1. Yeah, it just doesn't look as smooth. I don't think they've optimized it. Yeah, it doesn't look as smooth. Yeah, I don't think Asphalt 9 is optimized for it because the frame rate looks like it's running at 30 FPS, which is a shame because I know this game to look smoother. So for me to be seeing it at this frame rate and I can instantly tell, yeah, this ain't a vibe, man. This is not the vibe. Let's do a quick measurement of the heat performance. So we started at 30.7, is now at 35.1. So it's 35.1. So temperature has gone off ever so slightly on it after 2 rounds and 2 sessions. We'll do one more. And this is the real-time performance with obviously temperature measurement for you to see how it is. Overall, again, as stated in terms of just optimization and raw performance, Tensor chips ain't really about that. Are they adequate enough? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the performance is a bit suspect. So I'm gonna close this. Do a final temperature measurement when it comes to the Pixel 8 Pro. Here we are, 35.8 degrees when it comes to temperature. And that is the overall performance of the Pixel 8 Pro. It's pretty much gonna be near enough what we should be seeing here on the Pixel 8. Again, that is pretty much what you're getting when it comes to the Tensor G3, right? It's not brute performance, it's tailor-made performance. It's not brute performance, but it's tailor-made performance. Will we ever see the Tensor chips get to a point where they put brute performance first? I don't know, and I don't want to say I don't think so. I just don't know if that will ever be Google's priority. I just don't know if that will ever be their priority, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if that will be their priority, but it's something to take duly note of when it comes to what we've shown in terms of synthetics, where it sits, their decision making, what they stated. The Pixel is about having a tailor-made experience. It's not the home of a brute force performance of high synthetic benchmarks, high raw horsepower, or even per app optimization, because Asphalt 9 really, it didn't look as smooth as how I'm used to playing it. So, you know, for me to notice it, and I couldn't see in the settings where you could change the graphics, like what you would do on the normal, on my S23 Ultra and stuff, it's something to consider. But yeah, that is the performance experience with the Tensor G3 on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, a tailor-made experience, but yeah, here we have it. Now let's talk about the camera. And wow, thank you, everybody that has allowed my definitive camera comparison between the Pixel 8 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the Galaxy S23 Ultra get the recognition and the love that it gets. Like I said, the YouTube algorithm served it up, and you, as the audience, dunked it for the best feeling alley-oop that I've seen. I'm telling you, man, it's been hard at work that we've been putting in when it comes to the Ultimate Camera Comparison Series, and it's now. Again, we had glimpses of it when it came to the S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro Max, but definitively, when we look at everything that's come together for this particular one, this one meant a lot more because, you know, doing a three-way camera comparison is tough, as well as it being tough, being as long as it was, you know, in this generation where everything is pretty much all about, hey, short form, short form, short form, short form. To get people to watch what is almost effectively a 1 hour in-depth camera comparison between three big boy phones, you're asking a lot of someone to even sit there for 10 minutes, let alone an hour. So for you lot to actually sit there, everyone that was bumping and putting fist bump emojis in there to say that they're watching from beginning to end, the absolute real ones, everyone that commented, everyone overall has been positive about it. It's really meant a lot. So this is our definitive camera comparison. Pixel 8 Pro in the middle, iPhone 15 Pro Max on the left, and the Galaxy S23 Ultra on the right. Overall, when we look at how the Pixel 8 Pro performs, it's probably got one of the nicest 4K 60 front-facing cameras that you can get. Great colors, great skin tones, no overexposure. iPhones in a 4K 60 mode on the selfie camera just lose all manner of dynamic range. And as you can see right here, this is the performance, colors, yeah, it's really, really good. My only gripe with this is that, so there's two things to consider. When it comes to audio enhancement, you do have the speech enhancement feature that works up to 4K 30 on a selfie on the Pixel 8 Pro, so it really helps with background noise cancellation and stuff. Doesn't work in 4K 60, but overall, in terms of how the mic pickup is really, really good. Again, 100% go watch this. 56 minutes is really worth the watch, and for everyone that has vouched for it, really appreciate you for vouching for the in-depthness for this. We've listened to your feedback and we're improving. Again, 4K 30s here, but it is missing that cinematic video, so it cannot do the background blur effect. The background blur effect can be done, but it's only on the back camera. It's only 1080p, 24 FPS. It can't do it on the selfie. I really want to see this feature because I personally like it. And obviously you've got down the S23 Ultra and the S20. So this is where it drops the ball a little bit. So when it comes to the rear cameras, again, we're showcasing this. This is something that is really good in terms of the colors. The visual look of Pixels have really improved. One of the things about the Pixel 7 Pro, and you will see it in our ultimate camera comparison between the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 7 Pro, as well as the Pixel 6 Pro, the noise, even during the day on Pixels of old, were really, really bad. It looks to be something that they've really cleaned up. It looks like a much cleaner video image. And again, of course, you've got the flexibility to switch between the lenses. I really hope Google copies Samsung in the end, where they allow you to switch to the front-facing camera while you're recording on the same clip. I love the fact that you can pause recording and continue on the same clip. Samsung does that as well. iPhone doesn't. So again, much more flexible. Stabilization mode could be better. 4K 60 mode is great because it allows you to switch between the lenses. In fact, you know, Google were the ones doing it before Apple and Samsung, where in 4K 60, you could switch between the back lenses without having to stop recording and switch. Again, it's great to see that Apple have followed suit with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Still a limitation on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, but I know for a fact they're gonna fix it when it comes to the S24, because if they don't, boy, they're not gonna like me. So you've got the stabilization mode here, which is behind the competition, where Samsung and Apple are shooting 2.8K at 60 FPS, 2.5K 4040p at 2.5, and you've got it with the ultra wide, the 1X. In this particular one, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is way more robust. The Pixel is very much behind, even though the colors looks good. It's something that they're behind on. And again, this is obviously looking at me in the frame as the subject. So I don't think the colors are that accurate when it comes to the rear camera on this particular one. I know for sure with the nature of how the color is of that orange jacket, the iPhone is a lot more accurate. Skin tones are better on the Pixel, but the colors of the jacket and the scenery is more accurate on iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? Again, this is just a summary. When we go look at, let's just say, the performance of the pictures and stuff during the day, I usually break them out into landscape, macro close-up, selfie images, and of course me in the frame as a subject with the rear cameras, because you want to see how it looks on people. This is literally what we've got here. Again, the zoom performance, where you don't have a mid-range zoom, you go straight into 5x when it comes to the optical. So you can see it goes up to 30x. Again, this is more of just an overall general summary. Highly recommend you go watch the in-depth camera comparison, which I will link in the description below. Absolutely worth the watch. And thank you to all the new members that have subscribed, that have watched, that have really given it high praise and realized that, hey, we are here too. And with our stuff, you know, we're bringing our own heat when it comes to in-depth camera comparisons. Again, that doesn't definitively mean we think we're the best. You be the judge of that, and I think you've spoken when you are mentioning us next to the legends of tech, and in fact, definitively saying that we are showcasing and we're commentating and we're breaking it down in a way that's not biased, that really hits things through and gives you something that is comprehensive, worthwhile, and there's no corner cutting. Overall, the camera experience is great. Google needs to, you know, kind of figure out the lens switching smoothness up to 5x. In the 2x optical mode, where you're going 2x, 1x, 0.5x, that switching is actually very smooth. It's the 0.5x, it's the 5x zoom or the 5x telephoto that really is jarring when it jumps, right? So they really need to, you know, take a leaf out of Apple's book and figure that part out. They need to also figure out how they can just do video portrait mode in 4K with a 24 and a 30 FPS option, and also on a selfie camera as well. That's, again, something that they need to look into and consider. Overall, the camera improvements are there. The camera improvements are there in terms of the fact that that's a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 48 megapixel zoom, and now a 48 megapixel ultra wide. It's a new GN2 sensor, which is obviously same sensor size and everything, but again, the sensor quality is improved, and you do have a wider aperture as well. Great control when it comes to lens flare. Overall, I like the Pixel camera experience for photos, especially for people of my skin shade. It really does stay consistent when it comes to skin tones. But overall, I felt whelmed with the camera. Because for the things that I prioritize, especially when it comes to video, being able to flip to the selfie camera is something I wish they did. You know, having a much more robust shooting mode for video portrait mode is something I wish they really took seriously. But overall, I will say that I felt whelmed. Not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed in a good way, but I felt whelmed by the camera experience. That's just me personally, right? Does that mean it's not gonna be adequate or suffice? No. It's gonna be solid. It's gonna be solid. But here's where I feel like they need a Pixel Ultra, right? And it's really gonna be based around the camera. Based around the camera for several reasons. Based around the camera on the reason of, hey, give us a 0.5 ultra wide, which has a 125-degree ultra wide field of view, or whatever you wanna call it. A 1x main wide sensor, which has the equivalent of somewhere between a 24mm to 28mm wide field of view. Use the 2x optical mode, right, with the center crop on the main wide sensor. Give us a 3x dedicated zoom lens. Great mid-range zoom, great for portraits, great for zoom. And then give us a 6x optical zoom that can do up to 50x or 60x digital. That is the range I really want to be sitting at. 10x, I'll be honest with you, 10x is brilliant, but 10x is excessive based on a gap from the 3x dedicated zoom to the 10x, right? What you want to do is you want to be minimizing the jumps from lens switching. And I think the sweet spot balance would be a 0.5x, 1x, 2x, 3x, and a 6x. And I hope Google do that, right? Lens switching smoothness is such an underrated feature that I didn't realize I cared about so much until Apple pretty much perfected it near enough with the iPhone 15 series, especially with the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. Switching between all the lenses, it's just like hella smooth. But my conclusion of the camera experience is they are very good, but I personally have a high bar expectation of improvements based on testing and feedback given of how the camera experience can be more robust. And in that sense, for all the improvements, I think the improvements to the camera isn't really about what you can do when it's going, but it's all about what happens in post. It's not really what happens within the camera system when you're using it or beforehand, but it's what you can do afterwards. And again, night sight video wasn't available at the time. That's going to be a feature drop in December. Be sure to tune in. We'll do a dedicated follow-up, and we're going to do a video boost comparison features as well, where again, that is offloading offline, offloading online, coming back with improved video. So we're gonna see how well that works. But again, my conclusion of the camera experience when it comes to the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, I was whelmed. That's a good thing. That we've gone through the design, the display, the performance, the camera breakdown. Let's talk battery life. And this is all you all wanted to see. Let's go into the battery life settings right here. We're gonna zoom in, then you can have a look at the battery life experience for yourselves. All right, let's go to battery. And what do we have here? We've got adaptive charging on, of course, right? Battery usage, screen time since full charge. We did a full charge before going out to do the camera comparison on 46%. This is screen on time. This is the usage when it comes to the camera, YouTube, Instagram, a Photos app, Asphalt, as well as other things there as well. And again, been more using a Pixel 8 Pro, but as stated, by the time you've watched this, we would have conducted our controlled battery drain test, which we're gonna do. Pixel 8 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, S23 Ultra, and Pixel 8 is gonna be in there as well. So yeah, it looks like in terms of obviously the battery life and how it holds up, screen on time, you're probably gonna be getting about 5 hours of screen on time. At the end of the day, if you're using it conservatively, 5 hours of screen on time, you have about maybe 30 to 35% battery left in there. Again, this is using a 5050 milliamp hour battery, and this is using a 4575 milliamp hour battery, and they do support improved 30 watt charging. And again, it doesn't mean it's using all of the 30 watts, but it's using more of the 30 watts than it ever did before, which obviously in the past was capped at like 20 watts or 21 watts. But again, this is something that they've improved on there. So Google did state that, yes, of course, we know there's no chargers in the box. If you use the official Google 30 watt charger, it did claim that you do get 50% in 30 minutes. And that is true. With my battery charging test, if you haven't watched it again, I'm gonna plug it so you can go watch it. It is 30%. It's true. I got 51% with the Pixel 8 Pro, apologies, and I did get 50% with the Pixel 8 when charging from pretty much 1% dead zero, 250 using an official 30 watt charger, which is what we are using. So this is improved battery charging for Google. And obviously the improved battery charging for Google means that it did finish charging in about an hour, 20 minutes for the Pixel 8, and just under an hour, 30 minutes, which in the past would have taken 2 hours plus. So for example, my Pixel Fold, to charge 100% using an official charger from dead zero, yeah, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that's a massive improvement considering they come. Again, I still want Pixel devices to just get to the point where You know, they can charge the full in at least 1 hour, you know, at least 1 hour. With a battery size like 5,000 milliamps, if they can charge the full in at least 1 hour, this is something I'll be happy with. My ideal situation is to get full charge in 45 minutes. Anything less than that, it's just an excessive bonus. It's just a bonus. Anything less than 30 minutes, it's just an excessive bonus, right? So personally, anything within the range of 45 minutes to full charge, an hour to full charge over wired cable charging is another thing to consider. So yeah, that's the battery experience when it comes to battery life and charging. I will be doing a controlled ultimate battery drain test. If it's not ready already, definitely I will link it in the description below and the cards above. But yeah, that's the battery life of the charging experience on the Pixel. I'm glad to see that they've improved it when it comes to the charging times. And the overall battery life is actually good. Right, people. Wow, what a show tonight. We've gone over the 2 hour, 30-minute mark. Really appreciate your support. Again, shout out to the live squad that stayed here and really engaged. You have all been absolutely amazing. Shout out to everyone that discovered it after in the replay crew. Yes, I know it may seem like a super long video, but this is our edition of the Snyder Cut special edition live stream of our Tech and Chill show Unplugged, where we have done our dedicated almost 2 weeks late review of the Pixel 8 Pro and Pixel 8. Really appreciate you sticking around. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future live streams and live showcases like this and playback, as well as all our dedicated videos that we will be posting on all latest releases. And this time around, at the time of this recording and stream, on the Pixel 8 Pro and Pixel 8. Have a blessed one. Thank you all for your support. Really means the world. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.